Hi trainers, I'm Teeds and today I'll be giving you the best 3 Pokemon for every role in Season 8. There are so many Pokemon that have risen to the top and this video should help make it easier for you to climb the ranks even faster. I'll also include the builds and emblems that I recommend to help you climb this season too. Before we jump in, as you can see, only 51.6% of you are subscribed, which is awesome. It is a big jump from 50%. Let's see if we can reach that 52% goal. We are so close. Subscribing would super duper help out the channel. Disclaimer, I base this on the current statistics and meta. Things can change, but I'll be sure to update you each time there are any massive changes. This is also based on solo queue. Okay, starting off with attackers. Attackers are one of the easiest roles to carry with. They have a ton of damage, usually really good secure, and can just easily wipe out a team either solo or with the right setup. This is in no particular order, it's just the best 3 in my opinion for each role. First, starting off with Cinderace. Cinderace is absolutely nuts right now, especially with the new items, and one of the best to carry with. Cinderace is generally pretty consistent too, with high damage, it has mobility, it's just a great Pokemon. These screenshots are from UniteDB, huge shout out to them for the items and emblem builders. My go-to right now for Cinderace is Blaze Kick plus Flame Charge, but Pyro Ball and Flame Charge is also a great build too if it's your preferred playstyle. Blaze Kick and Flame Charge deal a ton of damage, you have a lot of repositioning with it as well, and Pyro Ball just deals a lot of burst damage. It's pretty crazy. For items, I recommend Rapid Fire Scarf for the insane attack speed proc, Muscle Band for the bonus basic attack damage, and Scope Lens for increased crit damage and chance. Alternatively, you can also use Razor Claw, which also gives you proc damage on your basic attacks while also increasing your crit rate, or Attack Weight for the stacking damage. For battle items, I recommend Eject Button, X Attack, or Full Heal. For emblems, here's what I recommend. 6 browns for damage, you can get whites off as well for health. For the stats, I try to focus on increasing my crit rate and attack for more damage, but mostly my crit rate for Cinderace. Number 2, we have Delphox. Delphox has insane mobility at the moment with its low cooldown build. It also has short cooldowns for its Unite move, which is a pretty fantastic Unite move. It deals a ton of damage. Definitely a Pokemon that is a bit trickier to use than others, but very much worth learning right now. For builds, I currently recommend Mystical Fire and Flame Charge. Mystical Fire reduces the cooldown of Flame Charge once upgraded, which already has a short cooldown as well. Both moves have short cooldowns and they pair up super well together. You can get very consistent damage out in a short time. For builds, Energy Amplifier and Shell Bell for even more cooldown reduction on such a low cooldown build already. Plus the other benefits, of course. Choice specs for more burst damage, or you can use Wise Glasses for more consistent damage. For emblems, I recommend X Speed, Eject Button, or Full Heal. And for emblems, I recommend 7 blacks for more move cooldown and 6 greens for increased special attack. I try to increase my special attack in my stats as well. It's really beneficial for Delphox. Number 3, Duraludon. Duraludon has been Pokemon Unite's top winning Pokemon for a while now. It's pretty crazy. It does a ton of damage. The new items have even amplified it more. It's tankier than the other attackers. It can do so much from afar and it can just rip things really easily. For moves, I recommend either Dragon Tail with either Dragon Pulse or Flash Cannon, but it just deals so much. Dragon Pulse currently has the better win rate compared with the two. Players are also doing well with Stealth Rock and Dragon Pulse. I don't see a ton of Stealth Rock players these days, but it's really good to know. As for items, I'm loving Rapid Fire Scarf for the attack speed, Muscle Band for the basic attack damage, and Scope Lens for the crit. I recommend Eject Button, X Speed, X Attack, or Full Heal. And for emblems, I'm running the same I do as Cinderace, 6 browns for the damage, try to focus on the crit stat, and whatever emblem extras you can grab. Speedsters. Speedsters deal a ton of damage, especially burst damage. They go in, go out, they run around the map. If you're an attacker, Speedsters are probably your worst enemy. They're very hard to win against if you let them get close to you as a squishy Pokemon. Number 1, we have Gengar. Even with its nerf after nerf, I personally find Gengar to be a great Pokemon to carry rank with in solo queue. It takes out squishy Pokemon extremely fast and is one of the Pokemon that can actually one-shot almost. For moves, either Dream Eater and Shadow Ball, this has resets and short cooldowns, great for single target fights, or Hex and Sludge Bomb, great for going into multiple Pokemon, lots of resets and a ton of damage. Can work well with other Pokemon who have status conditions too. For items, I like to go triple glasses, so choice specs, Wise Glasses, and special attack specs, which is a stacking item. These deal a ton of damage overall. For battle items, I like Eject Button or Full Heal. For For emblems, I like 6 greens for special attack damage, and I try to stack as much special attack as I can, or you can go 4 greens and blacks for damage and cooldown. I have a full in-depth Gengar guide in my So You Want to Master series. There are a ton of tricks and tips, counters, and so much more. That video will save you a ton of time if you want to take Gengar very seriously. It's also great for people who just want to know how to fight against Gengar, so that video will be linked down below just for you. Number 2, Dodrio. Dodrio really got us in the first half. A lot of people were unsure about Dodrio. It felt weak, it felt off, but it just took some time and people have discovered that Dodrio is just a whole nother playstyle. Dodrio can really keep enemy Pokemon lower level just from its insane invade. I would like to say that this playstyle is a bit harder than others, so it's definitely a playstyle you need to understand properly, which is a ton of invading. For moves, you can go Tri Attack with either jump, kick, or agility. Gives you damage and mobility, the tools you need to be annoying to the enemies. For items, Attack Wave for stacking damage, Float Stone for even more speed to run around and stack your passive. Score Shield works great for the way it scores, as it scores bit by bit, or you can go Razor Claw for more damage and crit. And for battle items, I like to go X Speed just to get its passive up faster. For emblems, I like full browns for damage. I have a lot of health stat with this build as well. Number 3, Zoroark. This speedster can be a bit hard to get the hang of with its different targeting, but it has a super mega strong early. It does a ton of damage early and you can't do much about it. I find that it does fall up a bit later, so you do need to make sure you snowball with its early. For moves, you can go with Night Slash and Shadow Claw, or Feint Attack and Cut. For items, I recommend Attack Weight for stacking damage, Muscle Band for basic attack damage, Float Stone for more movement around the map, or you could go Razor Claw for damage and crit. For battle items, you can go X Attack, Full Heal, Eject Button, it's really up to you. And for emblems, I like using full browns for damage and invest into the crit stat. Next up, we have Defenders. Defenders are amazing for setting up team fights and taking a ton of damage. You can get enemies off your allies, and your presence in fights are very strong. Number 1, we have Mamoswine. I'm just so happy that I get to put Mamoswine in this list. Mamoswine is such an underrated defender. It has came a long way. It's got a ton of crowd control with its freezes. It can counter a ton of melee Pokemon, and it can set up very well for the team. For moves, I recommend Icicle Crash and High Horsepower. You have a ton of setup with this moveset, gets you into fights, and a ton of teamfight presence. For items, Mamoswine actually makes such good use of Rapid Fire Scarf. You can just freeze enemies forever with the insane attack speed. Muscle Band for basic attack damage, and Focus Band for sustained healing. Buddy Barrier is also a good choice for more tankiness and shield support for your allies. For battle items, Eject Speed or X Speed. For emblems, I try to stack a ton of health for stats, and I use full whites for health and some browns for damage. Number 2, Snorlax. In previous seasons, Snorlax really struggled for a while, but that's changed and it's now one of the best win rate Pokemon at the moment. It is tanky, it has a ton of setup, it's just a dang good defender right now. The moves I love for it is Heavy Slam and Block. You have so much setup with these moves. For items, I recommend Buddy Barrier for the health and shield, Focus Band for healing, and Dayo's Cookie for stacking health. For battle items, I recommend X Speed or Eject Button. For emblems, I like to stack whites for health, invest as much as I can to the health stat, and get some browns for damage. Number 3, we have Slowbro. I really love Slowbro. It is so cute and happy all the time. It is super tanky, it has some sustain, it deals damage, its Unite move is crazy good, and it can counter the strongest of Pokemon. For moves, I like Serve, and I can never say this, Telekinesis, I'm not too sure. Otherwise, you can also use Scout and Amnesia. For items, I recommend Focus Band for healing, Buddy Barrier for the health and shields for your allies, Muscle Band for basic attack damage. You can also go Ao's Cookie for more health. For battle items, I really like X Speed on Slowbro. For emblems, I go full whites for health, full greens for special attack damage, and I invest what I can in blacks for cooldown. Supporters! Behind every amazing carry is an amazing supporter. Supporters can do so much for the team. They carry with soaking enemy damage, healing, cleansing effects, and so much more. Number 1, we have Blissey. Blissey is an amazing healer, an amazing supporter. Blissey can cleanse crowd controls, and it can protect you. Blissey is probably the best pocket healer as well. For moves, I recommend Egg Bomb with either Soft Boiled for heals or Safeguard for the shields, and Purging of hindrances and hindrance immunity. You can also go Helping Hand if you'd like that instead of Egg Bomb. I really like Helping Hand. It gives you more movement speed and attack speed for both you and your allies. For items, I recommend Buddy Barrier to shield your allies, and it also gives you a lot of health. Focus Band for sustain with the healing, either Energy Amp for your Unite move recharge rate, as well as increased special stat increasing your heals or special attack specs. For emblems, I like to go special attack for even more heals with 6 greens. I also have a lot of stat in special attack as well. I have some invested into whites for more health too, but depending on your playstyle, if you want to be like maybe tankier, you could go more into whites and defenses. Number 2, Eldergast, also known as Elder God. Eldergast is one of the supporters that can do a good bit of damage while still supporting your allies. It's a ton of fun. I feel it is a more aggressive supporter if that's your playstyle. For moves, I recommend Pollen Puff and Cotton Guard, or Pollen Puff and Cotton Spore. And you can also go Leaf Tornado with Cotton Guard or Cotton Spore as well. Leaf Tornado is super duper good, especially with a Rapid Fire Scarf. I find that the speed from Leaf Tornado synergy with Rapid Fire Scarf pretty crazy good. But at the moment, statistically, Pollen Puff and Cotton Guard does have the higher win rate. For items in recent times, which I find super funny, you can use Rapid Fire Scarf and Elder Guard for the attack speed if you want a super aggressive approach. Otherwise, you can go Body Barrier for shield and health, Focus Band for sustained heals, and Muscle Band for basic attack damage. You can also go Wise Glasses for consistent damage or heal increase. For battle items, I recommend X speed or X attack, and for emblems, I like to go full blacks for cooldowns and full greens for special attack. If you are playing Rapid Fire Scarf and Muscle Band, you can go for reds for full attack speed. Number 3, Sableye. Sableye supports the team in a different way. It's not traditional in the sense of heals or shields. Sableye just disappears and causes a lot of pain for the enemy team. Sableye can send them back to base, invade, sneak scores, and deal way more damage than a supporter should be, but then again, Mr. Mime happened, Elder God happened, I have no idea. For moves, I recommend Shadow Sneak and Confuse Ray. These two are the best moves for Sableye at the moment in my opinion. It deals damage and crowd controls the enemy without much punishment. For items, I recommend Floatstone. You can move around the map even faster, Attack Weight for stacking damage, and Muscle Band for more basic attack damage. For battle items, I like Eject Button or X Speed. For emblems, I recommend 6 browns for damage and at least 4 whites for health. I try to focus on health and attack stats. The last role we have is All-Rounders. All-Rounders are great. They deal a ton of damage. They can also tank some damage. They're kind of just a tankier speedster. Number 1, we have Scyther. Scyther, and I mean Scyther right now, is super strong for this season so far. And at the moment, it just feels like a speedster. Like, it feels more like a speedster than an all-rounder. For Scyther, the moves that you can use is Dual Wing Beat and Double Hit or Sword Dance. Sword Dance at the moment does have the higher win rate than Double Hit. For items, I recommend Muscle Band for basic attack damage, Attack Weight for stacking damage, and Razor Claw for damage, passive, and crit. For the battle items, I strongly recommend Full Heal to cleanse, crowd control, and things like that because it really hard counters Scyther. And for the emblems, I recommend full browns for damage, whites for health, and invest into the crit rate stat. Number 2, we have Tyranitar. Tyranitar is super strong at the moment. Its Unite move is so powerful. It deals true damage. It's just pretty insane. Even though your early is like super bad, it really pays off in the end. For moves, I recommend using Dark Pulse and Ancient Power. This has been like the moveset for Tyranitar since it like came out, and it hasn't really changed, I don't think. It just works together very well. It does a ton of damage. For items, I recommend Rapid Fire Scarf for the attack speed, Muscle Band for basic attack damage, and Scope Lens for crit. For emblems, I really like full browns with some whites and crit stat, but you can also invest into health and attack stats instead too. Number 3, we have Garchomp. Garchomp has made some progress. Garchomp used to be the worst Pokemon for so long in Unite, but with the new items and the buffs, it's looking really good for Gibbles right now. The moves that are winning for Garchomp at the moment is Dragon Rush and Dragon Claw. They can combo so well together, but you can go Dig and Earthquake as well. For items, Rapid Fire Scarf 100%. This item is one of the best on Garchomp for the attack speed. Sometimes it's like it was made for Garchomp. Muscle Band for more basic attack damage, and Scope Lens for crit damage. Some people also like Rain Crown on Garchomp, which gives you some lifesteal. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it yet, but Rapid Fire Scarf for sure is amazing in regards to new items. For battle items, I like X Speed, X Attack, Eject Button, or Full Heal. And for the emblems, I recommend full browns for damage, whites for health, and invest into the crit stat. I really hope this list helps you out for this season or this patch. I will definitely be doing more of these for every patch or season, so please do subscribe to the bell to be notified for that. I hope you also enjoy my new So You Want to Master series, which will be an in-depth guide for every single Pokemon. If you want to check out my Gengar one that I've released so far and let me know who you would like next, please let me know. Any support on those videos would be super helpful. Thank you so much for watching, trainers. Please like the video if you found this interesting or helpful. I hope to catch you for the next one.